Hey everyone, I wanted to go over the new and exciting news that we got for Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak that's set to release on both the Nintendo Switch and on PC via Steam this summer. And thanks to the official Monster Hunter Rise Twitter account in both Japan and North America, we finally got a brand new couple of details, at the very least some morsels regarding Master Rank being introduced in Sunbreak. Essentially, Master Rank will be what we all used to know as G Rank, the toughest, most difficult type of challenges we're used to seeing with these type of expansions. The official Japanese post does have a little bit of a different wording than the Western North American one that we got, so we're going to read both of them and go over them. The Japanese one actually says, in Monster Hunter Sunbreak, Master Rank quests, which are more difficult than the Meeting House 7-star quests, will be appearing. There's also new monsters from Master Rank, so get ready in Sunbreak with all the equipment and items you will be needing starting now. And of course, they showcase a little bit of a really cutesy Hinoa art. Usually we went over these before. Hinoa arts are their way of showcasing us just a little bit more flair and interesting ideas, so you can understand a little bit of the concept of what the game is going to be about. And of course, they're just showing the Tigrex kind of beating up on Hunter a little bit, and Arathalos watching from behind. And the North American post is actually reading a little bit more differently. It says, in Sunbreak, you'll be greeted by Master Rank quests, which are even more advanced and difficult than the 7-star hub quest you're currently seeing in Monster Hunter Rise. Once you reach Master Rank, new monsters will make their way to the entrance, so start preparing. Make sure you have all your gears and items ready. So of course, without much of a surprise, we already know that Master Rank is going to be a continuation of the story, a continuation of the challenges, getting tougher and tougher as you are expected to go into a higher difficulty. That's not necessarily was much of a surprise. What I do think is something of a brand new confirmation that we didn't have before is the fact that it says once you reach Master Rank, new monsters will make their entrance, so start preparing. It doesn't necessarily say that monsters will be having options or at the very least appearances in high rank or even low rank. Remember that even just in the base experience of Monster Hunter Rise, we already have monsters that are only appearing in high rank. Both Ragnakadaki and Rajang are only high rank monsters. There might be one, Gyarados, yes, of course. Gyarados is another monster that's also high rank. They do not appear in low rank in base Monster Hunter Rise. So now we're getting the confirmation that pretty much all these new monsters that are going to be introduced, or at the very least, a hefty sum of them, to say the least, will be just Master Rank monsters only. They're going to be just appearing in this brand new wave of events, this brand new wave of quests. It doesn't necessarily say that maybe retroactively, as for typical event quests, they might provide us with a high rank or low rank version option for those people who are choosing to buy Sunbreak, maybe at a later date when they start dropping DLC, to provide us with a lower rank, high rank version of those monsters in different event quests. But for right now, it seems like all the new monsters will be just Master Rank, aka G Rank only, meaning that this higher difficulty would be their base tier experience, and more importantly, of course, that means they're going to have just one armor set. I know a lot of people are always very concerned about wanting to get more armor sets, more weapons into the game, but what this actually means to me at the very least is that they're just going to have that one typical armor set. They're not going to have a low rank or even high rank armor options. They're just going to have that Master Rank option as well as weapons as well. How does that actually translate to, the weapon tree and how many parts you need to get and all of that? That's going to be a little bit interesting to see how they choose to go about it. Maybe they actually copy the same idea from World and Iceborne and they choose to go that route. But for right now, we don't necessarily get those details. But at the very least, I think now they're making it very clear that Master Rank will be the home of all of these brand new monsters that they're going to showcase. As to how many monsters ultimately we're going to get in Sunbreak is anybody's guess. A lot of people have speculated based on the really old, really outdated, I think, at this point in time leaks, that the base number we're dealing here is at the very least 10 brand new monsters appearing in Sunbreak. But of course, like I mentioned before, that is a long time ago when we got those leaks, so a lot of things could have easily changed over that time span of at the very least 2 years since we heard those details. I guess in closing, I do want to say that I do find it interesting that they're saying make sure you have all your gear and items ready, because they know that Master Rank, G Rank is no joke. I know a lot of people complain about the difficulty in Monster Hunter games getting easier and easier as you come along, like as you play more of them. But I think that's just the fact that, kind of like Dark Souls games, the first one is always going to be tough because you don't necessarily know what you're dealing with when you're starting to play the game. But as you get more accustomed to the experience, you start seeing more of the mechanics, you start understanding how it is that you want to take advantage of the situation, the easier the game becomes. That doesn't mean that the game is getting easier, it just means that you're getting more accustomed to it. You understand the mechanics, you understand how you need to perceive the game and actually be able to deal with it a little bit better. I think Monster Hunter is no different in that regard. That doesn't necessarily mean that the difficulty of the games has just become easier. I think that, especially in Monster Hunter Rise, I've talked about this at length, that in Monster Hunter Rise, the game has difficulties viewed as easy only because you have the wire bug, and silkbind attacks. A lot of weapons have completely replaced their typical combo usage, which was the bread and butter moves that you had back in the days, where now you're just spamming silkbind attacks, and that's just kind of like the way that you're fighting with some of those weapons. On top of that, now you have the wire bug to escapability, add movement, you have the palamute to be able to move around. I think all of those things encompass the fact that combat is just simply faster, but is also made easier by all the tools at your disposal. The fact that a lot of people now easily understand that you can disengage, back out, and re-engage whenever you feel like it, I think that also goes a long way. People have begun to understand that. Even new hunters have been taught that from their friends, or a lot of people. I always see in the comments people telling me like, hey, I got my friend to play the game and I'm helping them out. One of the first things you want to tell people is never panic, disengage, drink your potions. You don't necessarily have to sit there and chipping away damage just to get carded. It's unnecessary. And the more people understand that, I think the better it is. So I'm glad to see that the difficulty hopefully lives up to the promise. I yearn for the days of like Tree Ultimate, where basically you had one-hit KO attacks left and right. I remember fighting that Ivory Lagiacrus, and it was just a tormenting experience because everyone just kept carding. But eventually I got through that damn quest, and it felt great, and I yearn to see that again, that level of difficulty. And I hope people are definitely excited for Sunbreak, because I am. The more I read about how difficult it's going to be, obviously more experiences, bringing in new people. I guess the only real damage and I guess negative thing that I can say about it is the fact that we don't get to play with Nintendo Switch and PC players at the same time. That is definitely going to always be a bummer. I do think there's still way more active people on the Nintendo Switch than the PC. I think that's always going to be the case because the Switch version was definitely, the flagship experience. But that's about all the information that I wanted to go over today. If you are brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.